My 14-year-old does not need a Louis Vuitton purse. I don't have a Louis Vuitton purse. I have no designer purses. Hey everybody, it's Becky. Welcome back to my channel. In honor of the gift guide videos that are coming up this week, I've got 4. One for each girl. One for what I got my 14-year-old for her tree gifts, one for her stocking, one for my 8-year-old's tree gifts, and one for her stocking. You guys know that I do this gift guide series of videos on my channel every year, and I love making them for you guys. I love sharing them with you guys, and so many of you ask about them all year long, and some of you have said they're even your favorite videos to watch. So I love making them for you guys, but last year in particular, I got a lot of flack over what I got my oldest daughter for Christmas. Now, obviously, I don't care that people don't like what I got my kids for Christmas. That's personal preference. Everybody has a right to like what they want to like. But it just surprised me how much hate I got over what I got my daughter for Christmas. It kind of was funny. So I thought I'd make this video leading up to the gift guide videos that are coming up this week. Share with you guys what I'm not getting my kids for Christmas and how to have a guilt-free experience with Christmas for you as the parent. I know a lot of times people will try to make you feel guilty because of what you got your kids or what you didn't get your kids, or your kids will make you feel guilty because you feel like you didn't get them enough, or they told you they wanted something else and you got them that, all these different scenarios that can play out when it comes to gift giving. So I thought this would be a good time to share with you guys how to have a guilt-free Christmas. So giving gifts to somebody and not having guilt about it. So I have 3 tips for how to have a guilt-free Christmas. And the first thing is, it really truly is quality over quantity. And I don't mean more expensive over cheaper. I mean things that are more important to the child, things that they would like, that they're going to use, or they need, or they like, versus just a bunch of stuff, everything you could find because they may like this and this and this and this and this. I've done that. When I had one kid and I was a newer mom, I got my oldest daughter the most ridiculously obscene amount of gifts you've ever seen. And she honestly couldn't remember probably even half of what she got. Not to mention the fact that she was already getting all this stuff from us. And then she would get stuff from grandparents and then whoever and whoever. And by the time Christmas was over, we had like stacks of presents that she couldn't tell you who gave her what. She didn't play with 90% of them. And then I just had to figure out where to put them because I didn't want to get rid of them because they were her gifts, but she wasn't playing with them. She didn't need them. There was too many things and it was just a mess. And so I learned over the years, and I especially learned with having 2 kids now, I try to, honestly, instead of giving them more each year, a lot of times I try to keep it pared down every year. I try to think, okay, did I give them 6 last year? And it really depends too on what they want or what they need. But I'm not just about going out and getting 10 presents because last year they had 10 presents. So this year they have to have 10 presents. And then maybe next year they might want 11 because, well, they had 10 the year before. So I should really up it and give them 11. That gets to be a whole thing, and then you turn into Dudley from Harry Potter, where he was mad because one year he got 36 presents and now he wants 37 presents. It's just a vicious cycle. So I really try really, really hard to keep what I get them like small. As few things as I think that they will actually play with and use and remember and need, versus just a big bunch of stuff because I'm in competition with myself about what I got them last year, or I'm in competition with how many presents their friends are getting. I don't worry about that anymore. And I've learned that over the years, and I learned that the hard way. So it really is truly quality over quantity. My second guilt-free gift-giving tip is, don't compare what you give your kids to what other people give their kids, or what your kids tell you that their friends get from their parents. So don't worry about that. You get what you feel like you can afford, that your kids want and actually will use or need. And don't worry about what other people are getting their kids or what your kids tell you their friends are getting for Christmas. Don't worry about that. You're not in competition with anybody else. Christmas is not a race. It's not anything like that. It is not to be compared to anybody else's Christmas. It is individual to your family and what your kids need and what your kids want and what you can afford. So really don't let yourself get caught up in that comparison. In life in general, it's hard, but in life we should try not to compare ourselves to other people. It's the same thing with gift giving. Don't compare what you're giving your kids with other people, because you will always see people out there giving their kids more, giving their kids bigger things, expensive things that maybe you can't afford or you just don't feel like your kids need. Like, I don't think my kids need a lot of this crazy stuff that some kids are getting. I don't feel compelled to go out and get it just because so-and-so's getting it. Don't worry about that. You do you, your family, what's right for you and your kids, and don't worry about what other people are giving their kids. My last tip is obvious probably to a lot of people, but I try to keep the girls' gifts as even as possible. Obviously with the number, they both get the same number of presents, but I try to keep it as close to each other in value, just so, you know, one kid's not getting all this crazy expensive stuff and the other kid's, not that I do that really anyway, but you know what I mean? Just like, I try to keep value-wise as even as possible, but sometimes that doesn't happen, especially when you have kids with a varying age range. Like, I have a 6-year age difference between my girls. So if my teenager is at the point where she wants a $200 leather jacket, which she doesn't, but that's just my example. If she wanted a $200 leather jacket, or she wanted a pair of real Ugg boots now that her feet have stopped growing, or something like that, am I going to have to turn around and get my youngest daughter something for $200 just because I gave something for my oldest daughter for $200? No, that would be crazy. So really, when stuff like that happens, if one kid wants something quite a bit more expensive than the other, I try to balance it out, and a lot of times I'm lucky and it does work out where they both kind of want things of similar price ranges. But if that doesn't happen, I'm not going to turn around and go give my youngest daughter $200 or buy her a $200 present just because my oldest daughter got something for $200. At that point, I would really base it on the value to the child, not the monetary value, but how badly they want something. So if my oldest daughter got something more expensive, but my youngest daughter really wanted this thing that wasn't as expensive, but she really wanted it, and maybe I wouldn't have bought it, or maybe she doesn't really need it, but she really wants it, then that is kind of how I balance that out. So value to the child versus just monetary value. And you really have to kind of play that on a present by present basis. It's a little bit of a game, but it's the best way that I have figured out of balancing things, because you can run yourself crazy trying to keep things perfectly even with each child, and it's just not going to happen, especially if you have kids that are, you know, quite a bit older than the younger ones. So those are kind of my 3 guilt-free ways to make Christmas gift giving a little bit less stressful. So hopefully those were helpful. So with that in mind, I'm going to share with you a little bit of what at this point I am not giving my kids for Christmas. And a lot of this comes from some of the comments that I got last time off of my 14-year-old daughter's gift guide video. If you want to read them, you should go back and look at that video. They're pretty hilarious of what some of these kids are saying that they're getting. I was told that I was cheap and I'm a bad mother because I don't give my kids this, or this, which is ridiculous. I am a good mother. That's why I don't go crazy and give them excessively ridiculous amounts of gifts anymore, or excessively expensive presents, because that is what you get when you do that. You get a kid who gets on YouTube and tells other people they're bad parents because they don't give their kids Louis Vuitton purses or designer makeup. Not to say I'm not ever going to buy them expensive things. I will as they get older. But at this age, 14 and 8, my 14-year-old does not need a Louis Vuitton purse. I don't have a Louis Vuitton purse. I have no designer purses. My most expensive purse came from the Coach outlet. And it's not because I can't afford it. It's because I don't put value in that. If I like the purse and then it would, but I don't know. I think it's a crazy amount of money to spend on a purse. And I'm not going to turn around and do it for my 14-year-old because I think she's too young. And I think it sets you up for that mentality of more. I need more expensive things. I need this designer, this, that, and the other. You know, so I don't do it at this age. Now, if she was 17, 18, 19, probably, because she's old enough to take care of it. She's probably old enough to understand more the value of how much that costs and how much somebody has to work to make that money to buy that. And then like with Ugg boots, okay, you know, I will get her Ugg boots when I'm sure her feet are done growing. Until then, I'm getting her not Ugg boots because I'm not going to buy her $200 boots that she's going to outgrow in 6 months to a year. I'm just not going to do that. Same thing with like the designer makeup. I will get her if she wanted specifically an Urban Decay palette, or she wanted a Too Faced eyeshadow or something like that. I'm not opposed to getting her name brand like prestige makeup like Urban Decay or Smashbox or Too Faced. I'm not opposed to that. I don't mind that. It's just that's not what she asked for. She didn't ask for any of that. And the makeup that I did get her last year was things that I have learned over the years, and I worked in makeup for a long time. A lot of the drugstore products are just as good if not better, than some of the high-end name brand like prestige makeup companies, but it doesn't cost as much. I don't feel the need to go out and get her an Urban Decay palette just because it's the Urban Decay palette and everybody wants it. Why am I going to go out and spend $50 on an Urban Decay palette when I can get the same thing, same quality pretty much for this or that? You know, that's just an example. But so they're not going to get crazy expensive things just because other people are getting them or just because it's the trendy thing to do, which kind of goes back to my other tip about not comparing what you give your kids to what other people are giving their kids, because it really is not about that. It's not a competition. And so they're not going to get expensive, crazy things like that. They're not going to get cell phones at this age because I don't even want her to have a cell phone. She has one, but it is for emergencies and, you know, little things she does here around the house. I'm not trying to encourage her to be on her phone. And if I get her a nicer phone that does more and takes more pictures and blah, 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 guess what that's going to do? She's just going to want to be on it more, and then we're going to have to fight about that. So she's not getting a nice, fancy cell phone. She has my old iPhone 5 from like 6 years ago or 5 years ago. And she will, whenever she gets a new phone, it'll be probably because I've upgraded and given her my iPhone 6, because that's just kind of how it works around here. I'm not going to go spend $900 on a phone to give her as a gift. Now, if you do that and that's important to you and your family, that's fine. I'm just saying for us, that is not in the cards right now at 14 and 8 years old. So for anybody that's looking to my gift guide videos to see what Louis Vuitton purse I'm giving my kids for Christmas this year, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see crazy expensive gifts, at least not at this point. We take gifts on a year-by-year basis. So what they need each year, what they want each year, what's in the budget each year, you take all those things into consideration. But I will say, I spend way less on Christmas than maybe I can afford. I mean, I can afford more, but I don't feel the need to go out and get a bunch of stuff, which kind of goes back to quality over quantity, or what they want over just how many gifts. I am not worried about spending a bunch of money just to show them that I can. Yes, I want to. I really do. I mean, I want to give them more because I want to spoil them. But I know and I have learned that it is not in their best interest, and it's not in my best interest to do that. And that's one thing I wanted to share with you guys. Overall, these are all things that I've kind of figured out over the years and things that I have learned through my own mistakes. If these 3 tips will help you to think about Christmas gift giving a little differently, if you can use any of these and apply any of these, if you struggle in any of these areas that we talked about, I think it'll be helpful, because Christmas is supposed to be fun. Giving people gifts is supposed to be fun. And it's not going to be fun if you're so worried about keeping up with what your friends' kids are getting, or if you are keeping up with what you gave them last year, kind of upping your own game. It's not going to be relaxing for you. It's not going to be fun. And it takes the fun out of the spirit of giving. So hopefully this was helpful and not too rambly. I'm sure it probably was. But if you liked it and it was helpful, definitely give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and hit that little notification bell so you'll be notified every single time I upload a video. That's especially important this week because my gift guide videos are going up and you want to make sure that you are reminded when they go up. So stay tuned. They're coming starting tomorrow. I hope you guys like them. I've put a lot of time into them, so I hope you enjoy them and they're helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. If you want to see 2 of my older videos, you can click the links right here. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, if you haven't already, and you definitely should, you can click right here. I upload every single week. I have some links in the description box for some of my favorite stores and products, as well as my P.O. box address. Check out those links if you're interested in those, and I will see you guys in the next video.